So, should we move on?
Sure. I think it's now time for the BFL Weekly Update.
Oh, yeah.
So, we had 2 BFL regionals this weekend. Number 1 on Sam Rayburn, Buzz Gallo caught 40 pounds, 9 ounces.
Hey, maybe Rich Dalby's not too far off with his weight prediction. Maybe.
Maybe. He caught 20 pounds on day 3. Had a just humongous day 3. And he caught most of his fish.
Oh, that was a 3-day tournament. Okay.
Yeah.
I take back my Rich Dalby comment from 10 seconds ago.
You never know. He caught most of his fish burning a spinnerbait and a lipless crankbait, but he also caught some fish on a topwater in a really unique way that I'm going to let him talk about right now.
I stayed in the grass. You had to be, you had to stay near the grass that was in 8 to 10 foot of water, and it had to be, the grass had to be tight. It couldn't be the loose, sporadic grass. It had to be the tight grass. And the key to me catching these fish was being able to use my glasses to where I could see the lanes in the grass. I used my Costa glasses because I could see the grass. I could see through the water. And it made my mission effortless almost. First day, I caught them on spinnerbaits, rattle traps. Spinnerbait being a War Eagle finesse spinnerbait. The trap was a Spro half-ounce silver with a blue back, Aruka shad by Spro. And the top water bait that I threw was a Strike King. I can't remember the name of the bait. It's like a spook bait. It's a walking top water bait.
The sexy dog?
I can't remember. Huh?
It's the sexy dog, right?
Yes, the sexy dog, yes. Yep, I caught that on like a pearl color. The key to the top water bait was not to move it. Day 1 keyed me into what to do on day 2 and day 3. I had a bad day 1. Obviously, I only had 6 pounds, but I lost 4 keepers that day on the fluke. So I knew that I couldn't stay with that pattern. I had to find something different. Day 1, 6'9", not too good. So I decided to change things up a little bit. I put the fluke down, didn't even want to throw it because I lost too many fish on it. So on day 2, the wind picked up pretty good in my cove, and that's when I really started hammering on fish as far as figuring the pattern out that I needed to win the tournament. And obviously on day 3, my pattern fell apart because the wind quit blowing. They would not hit the spinnerbait on day 3. They would not hit the rattle trap. So I had to find something different. My water slicked off, and the obvious choice then was a top water bait because I was throwing it over the grass. There was just nothing else that I could think of besides a fluke or a top water bait or a Cinco or something to catch them on, and I'm really fishing with a top water bait. That's my thing is fast moving bait. So the 3rd day I just happened to pick that top water bait up. I was working it, and I wasn't getting any bites. And I threw it out one time, and I stopped to talk to my co-angler for something. I can't remember what we were talking about, but I stopped and looked at him, and my top water disappeared. And when I say it disappeared, about a 2.5 pounder just blew up on it, tore it up, and I caught the fish. Well, then it kind of keyed me in on what to do. I'd throw that top water bait out there, I'd work it once or twice, and then I'd just let it set. And that's when they would hit it. If you moved it, they wouldn't hit it. They wouldn't touch it. So I'd throw it out there, I'd jerk it once or twice, and I'd just let it set. And I'd jerk it once or twice and just let it set. And if nothing hit it, I'd reel it up and throw it to another spot. I wouldn't waste my time working it back to the boat. And so I caught several good fish on that the last day. And about midday, the wind started picking up in the cove we were in. And I picked the rattle trap back up because it was up in the middle of the day by then. And I picked that lipless crankbait up and caught that 7-11 on it. And that was my second big fish of the day. I'd had that 6-pounder in the live well. I put that 7-pounder in there, and pretty much knew I had it right then because I had a good sack anyway. And about 1 o'clock, I caught one about 4 pounds. And I looked at my partner. I said, "They fishing for second place today."
So that's really the whole deal from Buzz. He was throwing his trap and his spinnerbait in those little lanes and pockets that he mentioned, and that's really how it went down on Sam Rayburn.
Congratulations to Buzz Gallo. Is that how you say it?
I'm pretty sure you say Gallo because it could be Gallo, right?
I was thinking maybe Gallo.
Oh, I think it's Gallo just because there's a Rangers prospect. I think he's a first base DH type prospect. Maybe he catches, I'm not sure. Called Joey Gallo, and that's what I'm going off of.
All right.
It's a little bit of a stretch maybe. I forgot to ask him how you pronounce his last name. I was just like, "Hey, is this Buzz?" I didn't say, "Hey, is this Buzz? Sure. How do you pronounce your last name?" So, which I probably should have done.
All right. Either way, nice work, Buzz.
For sure. Next up, then, Kentucky Lake, Chris Martinkovic caught 38 pounds, 11 ounces. He had a really cool tournament in that in practice, he had terrible weather, went to go check a spot that it was just a spot he could get to, a spot he could fish. And it was a place where he'd caught a fish like 5 years ago. He's like, "I'll just go check it out." And this spot was a shell bed. It had current coming over it. It was shallow. He said it was, 3-4 feet deep. He could see it. He could see that it was a dark spot. And the first 2 days of the tournament, the water was rising throughout the tournament. And he pulled up on this spot in practice, hammered him. And he said he couldn't sleep for like the next 3 nights. It was just the spot you dream about to, fish a tournament on. I mean, it was everything. He was so fired up. He went into the tournament, crushed them. He caught like 18 pounds on the first day. He caught, I think, 17 and change on the second day.
Didn't he catch him super quick, too?
Oh, yeah. It took him like 10 minutes to catch his limit on the first day, and then he left it. He didn't want to burn it out.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "I'll just go. I'll do other things." Basically did the same thing on the second day. Day 3, just terrible weather, terrible luck for him. The water had risen a fair amount so that he couldn't see the spot anymore. He still knew where it was, but he couldn't see it to target it like he had been earlier. He had 2-foot waves coming cranking across it. He just couldn't hold his boat well, and he thought that he told me that he thought the fish were still there. He just really could not fish it effectively because of the weather. He only caught one fish for 2 pounds, I think 11 ounces.
Wow.
On day 3.
So he's coming in on day 3 being like, I blew it.
Late in the day, like 2 hours left, he split off. He was going to go try and do some other things. Broke his trolling motor so that he didn't have a trolling motor. He had to like try and do other things by drifting around. It was just, Day 3 was a disaster, but he had like a 7-pound lead and it held. He had just enough to pick up the win. He was throwing a spinnerbait, homemade chatterbait. He's throwing a spook, nothing fancy. Like those fish, when they were there, they were just chewing. He didn't have to do anything special to catch them. But man, day 3 threw him for a loop, but he held on and picked up the win.
That is a crazy tournament. That's a crazy story.
Both of these guys were really great. They were really cool events, really cool stories. Like they were good. Buzz, I mean, you guys just heard his interview. He was a good storyteller. He had the vibe. Chris, it was the same way. He really got into in depth when I talked to him. I wasn't able to record it, so I wish I could have, so you guys could hear what he had to say. But I feel like I hope I did it justice in explaining it there. It was a very neat event, and I'm real happy for him.
Congratulations to Chris Martinkovic.
That's what I'm going with.
Yeah, day 3, 2 pounds. It held up.
Yeah,
got it done.
And he's going to the All-American, and he's got a truck and a boat now, so that's a big deal. And I'm sure that truck and boat probably he's going to find a way to get a new trolling motor too.
And that has been the BFL Weekly Update. For more like this, check out the rest of the FLW podcast at flwoutdoors.com or on iTunes.